This is the audiobook for Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. Story 1, The Jubilee Express, Chapter 2. I've never actually been on a train before. It was taller than I imagined, with second-story windows that I guessed were the sleeping cars. Inside, it was dimly lit, and most of the people suffering in there looked catatonic. I expected the train to steam and chugged and shoot off like a rocket, because I watched a lot of cartoons in my misspent youth, and that's how cartoon trains work. This train glided off indifferently, as if it had gotten bored with standing around. Naturally, I called Noah the moment we set off. This was a slight violation of the "I'm going to be slim until 6, so I'll just see you at the party, no call" policy. But never have circumstances been more understandable. When he answered, there was a cheerful clamor in the background. I could hear carols and the clanking of dishes, which was depressing contrast to the claustrophobic muffle of the train. "Lee," he said, "kind of a bad time. See you in an hour?" He made a little grunt. It sounded like he was lifting something heavy, probably one of the freakishly large hams his mother always managed to get her hands on for the smorgasbord. I presume she gets them from some kind of experimental farm where the pigs are treated with lasers and super drugs until they're 30 feet long. That's the thing," I said. "I'm not coming." What do you mean you're not coming? What's wrong?" I explained the parents in jail / me on a train in storm / life not really going as planned situation as best I could. I tried to keep it light, like I found it funny, mostly to keep myself from sobbing on a dark train of stupefied strangers. Another grunt. It sounded like he was shifting something around. "It'll be fine," he said after a moment. "Sam taking care of it, right?" "Well, if you mean not getting them out of jail, then yes. He doesn't even seem worried." "It's probably just some little county jail," he replied. "It won't be bad. And if Sam's not worried, it'll be okay. I'm sorry this happened, but I'll see you in a day or two." "Yes, but it's Christmas," I said. My voice got thick, and I choked back a tear. He gave me a moment. "I know this is hard, Lee," he said after a pause, "but it will be fine. It will. This is just one of those things." I knew he was trying to calm me down and generally console me, but still, one of those things? This was not one of those things. One of those things is your car breaking down or getting stomach flu, or your faulty holiday lights sending out a spark and burning down your hedge. I said as much, and he sighed, realizing I was right. Then he grunted again. "What's the matter?" I asked, through a sniff. "I'm holding a huge ham," he said. "I'm going to have to go to in a minute. Look, we'll do another Christmas when you get back. I promise. We'll find some times. Don't worry. Call me when you get there. Okay?" I promised I would, and he hung up and went off with his ham. I stared at the now silent phone. Sometimes, because I didn't know her, I empathize with people who are married to politicians. You can tell they have their own lives, but because they love the person they are with, they end up pulled into the juggernaut, and pretty soon they're waving and smiling blankly for the camera, with balloon falling on their heads and staff member knocking them out of the way to get to the all-important significant others. Who is perfect? I know no one is perfect, that behind every facade of perfection is a writhing mess of subterfuge and secret sorrows, but even taking that into account, Noah was pretty much perfect. I never heard anyone say bad words about him. His status was as unquestioned as gravity. By making me his girlfriend, he demonstrated his belief in me, and I had picked up on his conviction. I stood straighter, I felt more confident, more consistently positive. More important, he liked being seen with me. Therefore, I liked being seen with me, if that makes any sense. So yeah, his overcommittedness was a pain sometimes, but I understood. When you have to take a big ham to your mom, for instance, because 60 people are about to descend on your house for a smorgasbord, it just has to be done. The rough must be taken with the smooth. I took out my iPod and used the remaining power to flick through some photos of him. Then the power died. I felt so alone in the train. A weird, unnatural kind of alone that bore into me. It was feeling just beyond fear and somewhere to the left of sadness. Tired, but not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. It was dark and gloomy, and yet it didn't seem that things would get any better if the lights were turned up. If anything, I would be able to get a much better look at my unpleasant situation. I thought of calling my grandparents. They already knew I was coming. Sam told me he had already called them. They would have been happy to talk to me, but I wasn't feeling up to it. My grandparents are great people, but they are easily rattled. Like, if the grocery store sells out of some frozen pizza or soup they advertise in the circular and they've gone to the store just for that, they'll stand there debating their next move for a half an hour. If I call them, every aspect of my visit would have to be discussed to the smallest detail. What blanket would I need? Did I still eat cracker? Should Grandpa get more shampoo? It was always sweet, but a little too much for my mind at the moment. I like to think I am a problem solver. I would distract myself out of this funk. I dug into my bag to see what I had managed to collect as I was rushed out of the house. I discovered that I was woefully unprepared for the trip ahead of me. I had grabbed the bare essential, some underwear, jeans, 2 sweaters, a few shirts, my glasses. My iPad was out of power. I had just one book with me. It was Northanger Abbey, part of my winter break reading list for English. It was good.